Now, if you're in search of an exhaust system for your 2020 or newer JT Gladiator that will turn some heads and save you some room while you're out on the trail, this Magnaflow Rock Crawler Series single turn down exhaust system will be one to check out. Now, this will first and foremost be for the JT owner who is taking their truck on the dirt, whether it's more technical rock crawling, overlanding, or really anywhere that has the potential for an exhaust system to get in the way. Now, this exhaust system will offer you the space that you need to avoid any damage and hangups, and it's also going to bring a tougher sound to the table without all of the volume, getting itself a 2 out of 5 on the loudness meter, with 1 being stopped and 5 being wake the neighbors loud. Now, the biggest two features here of this exhaust are the clearance that you get with this system and the sound, so let's break them down, starting off with the configuration. Now, your departure angles are very critical off-road, as you may know, and one of those components that can hinder it is the exhaust system, which if it is hanging too low, it can cause damage to the exhaust and create a trail fix that you definitely don't have time for. Now, while it is a turn-down style option, like the factory one, this will have a muffler at the front of the system instead of the back, which is going to avoid any trail damage to those crucial components, and the tailpipe is going to tuck very high and tight to the underbody of the truck for a little bit of extra room. And the muffler, as I said, will also be mainly responsible for that sound that you're getting here, with a straight through style design adding a deepness in the tone and aggression at those higher RPM ranges, but it is going to keep it relatively mild on volume, which is great if you want a comfortable cab environment while still enjoying a tougher sounding system. Now, this will have a fairly simple construction with a single turn down configuration compared to some other busy or more complicated systems. Now, it will be made of a 2.5-inch stainless steel construction for a smooth flow with both the straight through style muffler and the mandrel bent piping. The stainless will also help when it comes to weathering over time, holding up well against rust and corrosion for a longer lifespan compared to other non-stainless choices. Now, this kit will also pop right into the factory located isolators and require no modifications with the complete bolt-on installation. Now, this kit here will come in at about $725. Now, while this may not be your most affordable choice for a turn-down style option in general, it will be one of the more cost-effective full turn-down systems that reach all the way to the back of the bed. Now, that will help when it comes to interior noise if you know that you want to keep it very comfortable on the inside of your Gladiator while still getting the benefit of a turn-down style system. It will also keep it mild when it comes to the volume while still getting a rich sound, making it a great choice if those are some of the key benefits that you're in search of for your Gladiator. Install will be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it should only take you about an hour or so to get the job done. Now, at this point, we can head over to our shop. I'm going to pass you over to one of our installers, and they are going to show you a detailed breakdown of how you can install this on your JT at home. So that is going to wrap it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and jump into that install.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, an extension, 10, 15, and 18 millimeter sockets, and a 13 millimeter swivel socket. What's up, guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our Gladiator. First, we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory exhaust, and I'll meet you right back here for the install.
Okay guys, first step obviously is we're going to have to remove our factory exhaust. Now, we have our Gladiator up on a lift to give you guys some better angles to show you exactly what we're doing underneath the Jeep. And the way we're going to do this is going to preserve our factory exhaust. If you don't care about your factory exhaust, it might be easier just to cut it off, but we're going to show you how to get this off while preserving the piping. So let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the skid plate here, and that's so we can drop the front end of the exhaust down. That'll make it a little bit easier to kind of work its way out. The factory exhaust is basically one piece from the Y pipe all the way back to the tailpipe. So what we're first going to do is we have a 13 mil bolt or a nut right here we're going to remove, and then we have 4 18 millimeter bolts here and then 2 up front here that we're going to remove, and that'll let us get the skid plate down. All right, like I said guys, that one we just did was a 13 millimeter, and the next 4 are all going to be 18 millimeter sockets you're going to need. All right guys, now before I do the front two, make sure you're supporting it with your hand, because once you loosen these, the skid plate's gonna wanna drop on you. All right guys, now this point back is what we're gonna be removing. So this clamp here we're gonna loosen. You're gonna need a 13 mil socket for this ball clamp. Now, unlike a regular flat clamp, these ball clamps have a kind of a curved edge that kind of cup around the end of the flange here, so you have to loosen it quite a bit in order to slide this out eventually. So we have that pretty good and loose, so we're going to move to the next step. All right guys, now we're going to pull back on this lock tab. This is just kind of to prevent the clamp from sliding at all. So just get a screwdriver in there, bring that back. All right guys, now we're right near the tailpipe, and this is the rearmost hanger. We're gonna remove this bracket because it is the one bracket that is pointing in an opposite direction from the other hangers further forward on the exhaust. You're gonna use a 13 mil socket on these two bolts as well. All right guys, now just to get it out of our way, we're gonna pull this hanger off. You're gonna have to pull it out a little bit and rotate it down. There's this little tab right here that hooks into the frame rail, so you need to get it away from there. You should be able to just pull this out like that. All right guys, now go ahead and assemble the tool that comes with your Jeep. We're going to lower our spare tire, get that out of the way, and then also remove the spare tire guard to finish getting out our exhaust pipe. Now this tool basically goes into a plastic sleeve that's behind the bumper here. Once you get that in, you can't twist it by hand, then you know you're on the, it's kind of like a bolt back in there that the end of this tool goes on, and we're gonna use this just like a socket wrench. And then the lug wrench here has a square opening in it. Put that in the end here. All right, with a bunch of slack let out, guys, you don't want to drop it all the way to the ground. You want to be able to get a hand underneath your tire. Lift your tire up. And there's a black bracket the tire rests on. Slide it up the cable and get it through the lug hole. All right guys, now to remove the heat shield that protects our spare tire, you're gonna have 5 bolts. They're all 10 millimeter. There's 3 up here that are gonna be very hard, if not impossible for you guys to see on camera here, but we're gonna take those 3 out first. All right, and then we have the last 2 right here, again, 10 millimeter. All right guys, now at this step, we only have 2 hangers that are holding our exhaust pipe up, and they are both pointing towards the front. which means with the help of my friend back here, we're gonna slide the entire pipe backwards out of these two hangers and then drop it down and actually pull it forward to clear the rear axle.
So now with our factory exhaust removed, we can go ahead and reinstall our skid plate. So thread in those 4 18mm bolts and that one 13mm nut. And then grab your 18mm socket to tighten down your 4 bolts. And then switch to your 13mm socket to tighten down your nut. Next we can install our muffler. So we're going to connect that up to our flange. I've got a pole jack here at the back to support the weight of the muffler so we can tighten it down while it's straight. And then you can slide your clamp over that flange and grab a 13mm socket and tighten it down. Once you have it holding, just straighten it out and then you can fully tighten it. Now next we can install our mid pipe. So we're gonna go up over the axle with this one, slide a clamp onto the muffler side, and slide that onto the back of our muffler. Then we can take our isolator, slide it over that rod, and thread in our 2 bolts. And then we'll take a 13mm socket and tighten down those 2 bolts. And now before we tighten down our clamp, we're gonna go to the back of our mid pipe and install our other hanger and those bolts as well. Now we can come to the back of our mid pipe and install our next hanger. Now you want this Mopar logo facing the front of the Gladiator. So go ahead and slide that on. And then grab your 2 bolts, raise this up into place and thread those in. Then grab your 13mm socket and tighten these down. And now we can come back to our muffler outlet and slide our clamp into place. Take your 15mm socket to tighten it down. Next we can install our tailpipe. So we're going to take our last hanger and slide that on. And then on the other side, you can slide your clamp on and then raise this up and connect it to the mid pipe. And then we're gonna swing this up to connect our hanger up to the frame. And then we can thread in our bolts. Now grab your 13mm socket and tighten down those bolts. And then you can grab your clamp and slide that back into place. And grab your 15mm socket to tighten it down. Next we can reinstall our heat shield. So we have these 2 studs back here that are going to get those 2 nuts, and then these 2 holes that are going to get the 2 bolts. Now these studs are going to be pretty much invisible once this is on, so I'm showing you that now so you know where to put your nuts. And then grab your 10mm socket and tighten these down. And then just feel around with your hands to find those nuts and tighten those down as well. So now we can get our spare tire back up into place. Now, since we're doing this on a lift, I put the tire on a table so that we can get it on here pretty easily. If you're doing this on the ground, you won't have any problem. So I'm gonna pull up on that black bracket, fish our bottom part through first, and then slide our bracket in. And then just pull tension, and you can start retracting your cord. So now you can just crank on your handle to lift your spare tire up into place. Now it likes to kind of angle it and pull one side up, so just get your second hand to kind of guide it in once you get close to the top here.
So that's going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the Magnaflow Rock Crawler Series single turn down exhaust system, fitting all 2020 and newer JT Gladiators, and you can find this system right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.